Welcome to the Miracle Hotline podcast. I'm Dino Pandolfo. Miracles are woven into the fabric of our lives, touching each of us in profound ways. Whether you've prayed for one desperately or found yourself in awe of an unexpected blessing, miracles leave an indelible mark. This podcast offers a platform for you to share your miracle stories, igniting hope and belief in others who may be facing challenging times. Join us as we delve into the realm of miracles, featuring first-hand testimonies, insightful interviews, and captivating investigations into the most remarkable stories. Share your miracle by leaving a message or texting a voice memo to 412-446-0330 or visiting miraclehotline.com. Your story could be featured on the show. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the Miracle Hotline podcast to catch every inspiring episode. In this episode, I'll be interviewing Lou from Long Island, New York. He has experienced miracles through the intercession of Padre Pio. Here's a short bio from the Padre Pio Foundation of America. Padre Pio, who lived from 1887 to 1968, was a humble Capuchin priest who lived the last 50 years of his life in San Giovanni Rotondo, Italy, at Our Lady of Grace Friary. He was blessed by God in many wonderful and mysterious ways. The most dramatic was the stigmata, and he bore these wounds of Christ for 50 years. Among his other gifts were perfume, bilocation, prophecy, conversion, reading of souls, and miraculous cures. People are still being cured through his intercession in ways that cannot be explained by medicine or science. More important, if less spectacular, are the spiritual healings that take place in all parts of the world. Saint Pio is a powerful intercessor. Okay, that's some background on Padre Pio, and here's the interview. All right, so we have on the line Louis.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Lou. I live in Shirley, Long Island, New York. I go to the St. Jude's Church in Massac Beach, Long Island, New York. I experienced a few things that I'd like to talk about.
Okay, so you called the Miracle Hotline, and I talked to you a little bit yesterday, but I didn't really get the full story. So what is the main miracle that you want to report to the Miracle Hotline?
The thing I'd like to talk about and tell, it was on March 21st of 2023 when I went into St. Jude's Church because somebody that I knew was that was sick. Somebody that had a connection to Padre Pio. Her name is Barbara. She had experience, her husband had experience with St. Padre Pio. And so what happened is they have a connection to St. Padre Pio. So she prayed for this.
So Barbara is the one that was sick, the person that was sick?
Name was Thomas. He was a kid that was sick through.
How old was he and what was wrong with him?
He was 31 years old. He had a sickness which I don't know what it was, but I know he was in North Shore Hospital in Long Island. He was very, very sick, and I was trying to find out what it was, but they weren't sure what he had. But what happened was it was not good, and then what happened is when he started getting better once Barbara prayed over for him because they said it didn't look good.
Okay, what kind of symptoms did he have? Like, and how long was that illness going on for? I mean, was it life-threatening?
First, they said it was cancer, and then I asked my friend because I had asked my friend Jerry about the cancer because he had mentioned that to me. But he said now they weren't really sure what it was, but he had a life-threatening sickness. That's what it was. It was very bad. And then they said all of a sudden 20 doctors in the hospital of North Shore couldn't understand how the sickness that he had, it was like not even there. It disappeared. And I asked and then I was told.
Oh, like all of a sudden?
Yes. And he went to from what I understand, he went into Manhattan. He went to Sloan Kettering to double check. And my friend says he hadn't heard anything since. The only thing I know is he was in the hospital a couple of times for that. I know because he had it major bad. Because Jerry's wife told me she'd go back in and don't play with it. Was something with the headaches. So now I heard he's doing better.
So Tim was in the hospital with this really bad cancer or something. They didn't know what it was, but he was going to die from it. and then he suddenly got better. Now,
Right, correct.
how is
Yes.
this? How is it a miracle? Like, what makes it a miracle and not just a luck?
All right, this is all right. The reason I'm saying it's a miracle, it just got me sick to my stomach because he's 31 years old, and I was sick when I heard.
Yeah.
I turned around and said I didn't believe in God, and I never said that because I used to be altar boy. I did like all this stuff. Anyway, so I said that, and then I turned around, and these are the words I said. I said, if you can't do nothing for me, do something for the kid. And and then what I did, I called Barbara. She prayed. 2 days later, my friend Jerry, Lou, I got something to tell you. I go, what do you want to tell me, Jerry? He goes, oh, you know Thomas Turner? He said his sickness is gone. I go, come on. I go, are you serious? He goes, no, Lou, I'm telling you it's true. So now that's what happened. So because Barbara prayed to St. Padre Pio, because she does that, and then, so what happened is I went back to the church of St. Jude's because I haven't gone to church in a long, long time. And I walk into St. Jude's Church to say thank you. I say a prayer. I started crying like a river. All of a sudden, I'm crying. Now I decide to leave the church. I was as I'm leaving, I'm like, I have to go back and say thank you to St. Padre Pio. So I go to the rectory. I go, where's the statue of St. Padre Pio? She goes, to the left side, Lou. So I went back in there to say thank you. See everyone touching all the statues of Virgin Mary, of all the Saint Virgin Mary and all the statues. And I said to myself, I want to be close like that. For some reason, I said that. And then I said to myself, as I go to, I said, I'm telling you the truth. What I said to myself, I go, I wonder what's going to happen to me. What happened to Tony? What happened to me? And so I put my keys down on the bench. I go touch the right hand of the statue of St. Padre Pio, and current went right into my hand.
Oh, like an electrical shock, like you put your
yes,
you put your
yes.
finger in a light socket or something, right? Like a vibration like that.
yeah. I never felt like that. So all of a sudden I grab. I'm like, what the heck? I went into a trance. I got weak. And then all of a sudden I woke up out of it, and then I'm trying to hold on. My hand slid down, and I'm trying to hold on, and electricity is going through my hands, and I says I can't hold on no more. I let go, and then I grabbed onto the wall in the church. The room was spinning.
Wow!
And I grabbed the wall. Then I grabbed the bench. I thought I was going to drop to the floor, and then I sat on the bench. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And I'm calling the priest with my hand. I'm across the church. He walks out of the church, and then all of a sudden, I said, I got to calm down. A calm came over me.
Yeah.
And I sat on the bench in the church of St. Jude's, and then all of a sudden, I calmed down, and then I asked the woman. I said, "Did you hear me?" She goes, "I heard you." He kept walking out of the church, because it was, so. And then after that, I told her what happened. And then I just didn't. I was just telling, I was telling people what happened to me.
Yeah.
And
so okay, let me just understand what happened. So you're a kid, 31-year-old guy. What's his name? Tim or Tom?
His name is. You want me to? I can.
You don't have to tell us.
Thomas. I know his last.
Okay, you don't have to tell his last name. But so he had cancer, and then your friend Barbara said a prayer to Padre Pio, and that's what prompted him to become healed all of a sudden. And
I'll tell you that, and I'm going to tell you, and you know why? Listen, her husband's name is in the paper, and I have nothing to hide because I know,
Yeah. So then that inspired you to go to Padre Pio in the church and say thank you, or you wanted to be closer. Like, what prompted you to go to see? Because you said you hadn't been to church for a long time before then.
I haven't been to church in years. I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't been to church in years. Years. I haven't.
Right.
Now I go more than I go a lot. I go a lot more now than I ever did.
So is that what prompted you to go to the church, to the shrine or whatever they have there?
Because the kid got better.
Yeah.
And because he got better, that's why I wanted to go back to God and say thank you. But I want to say thank you to St. Padre Pio also, because it's through the intercession of St. Padre Pio that things happen to God. To God. That's how that works. The only thing I know is I'm going to tell you the person's name, and what happens is Tony, the people that I knew, this is where it all started from. Tony, and it's
Who is Tony?
Tony Fuina. They wrote articles on him and his wife.
So they are like known interceders with Padre Pio, that they've done different healings.
Yes, he is known. Yes, correct.
And did you know Tommy, or did they know him, or did both of you just mutually know him?
You mean did I met him? I heard about his name, and I got to really, I spoke to him on the phone. I met them once at the church once.
Right.
Yes, I got to know them. Well, I've known them almost 8, 9, 10 years. I mean,
okay, so they go to that church.
He passed on 2017 though.
Okay. So the guy that was healed is just like a friend in the neighborhood, or is that people just know about? And you knew Barbara.
I just heard
and Tony.
about him because they wrote articles about him.
Oh,
right.
So there was articles. So this was something that they were kind of like working on, and then it turned out that they were able to heal. Or Padre Pio or God healed him suddenly.
Correct. Right.
Okay.
And then
I got
just
you.
to let you know, they were Maria Regina in Massapequa in Seaford, Long Island, New York. That's where in the article it's where Tony. Where he picked up, something made him pull over. The part of the story is, he pulled over. He picked up St. Padre Pio. They wrote articles on it. It's a true story. And where St. Padre Pio touched him, he had cancer, and there's a story. So the cancer disappeared. That was and then he dropped him off at Maria Regina Church in Seaford, Long Island, and that's where they have that's where it all happens somewhat. And then there's a statue there, but. That's where they're from. The church that they're from is, go ahead, I'm listening.
So Tony and Barbara are like known, whatever, miracles are happening to them and healings. Like they're known, they've been written up in the paper. Tony and Barbara, what's their last name?
It's F as in Frank, U as an umbrella, I as in igloo, N as in Nancy, A as in apple.
Fuina.
Yes, that's their name.
Fuina. Okay, so they're known miracle interceders, and they work with Padre Pio to make these miracles happen.
Because they right. Yes.
So I should interview them too, right? They should be on the Miracle Hotline, don't you think?
You want to laugh? I very well. I could have her. I could literally have her call you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'd like to talk to them too, but. So their miracle with Thomas inspired you to go to Padre Pio at your church, to the statue, and that's when you had a miracle happen to you with the current going through your body.
Yeah. Because yes, I love Barbara. Can I tell you something? She's unbelievable. Tony passed away in 2017, so I think they came back twice, but it through St. Padre through St. Padre Pio it disappeared. And if you look, they wrote articles on him. It's amazing. Yeah. You got to read the story. It's amazing.
So he had a healing.
What happened to me? Right.
So Tony himself had a healing happen.
Yes, he had 2 healings. He had I think cancer once or twice, and it disappeared. And that's why he's very well known. And also he donated his car to Rosa Mystica, upstate New York. It's a church, and people go into that car and they say they feel presence of St. Padre Pio. He donated his car up there.
So there's a car that just sitting in the church parking lot or something?
It's on the church grounds. They built something around it. It's in Rosa Mystica, upstate New York.
Wow. So you can go in the car and then you can pray.
I never went in there. So I got to go. I haven't gone yet.
That sounds a little weird, right? I don't know.
No, it's true. See,
this
is why I didn't want to say no, because and listen, people don't understand. But this is what happened, and I talk to Barbara all the time. But that's what happened. Yeah. But so my thing is, I'm going to tell you what happened. So what happened to me after that situation, when I had electricity go through my hands, my whole life changed. Long story short, is now Maureen. This woman Maureen, she was after Tony had left the prayer group. He started it after he had St. Padre Pio. He met him, and then what happened was Maureen calls me. Goes, Lou, she's a director. She goes, I'm like, who are you? She goes, I'm from Maria Regina in Seaford. She says, I knew her. Well, no, she called me. I forgot, but we met. So she goes, you have a connection to St. Padre Pio. I said, listen, I don't know what you're talking about because I never went through this. She goes, Lou, you need to pray for these people.
Right.
So long story short is she gave me a lot. She spoke to me. She helped me big time. So what happened
And this lady,
is,
what's her name?
her name is Maureen O'Hara.
Okay, and she is just a friend of yours?
No,
But
she's
she
the
knows...
director of the Maria Regina prayer group at the church. That's where Tony
at your church.
That's at Tony's church. My church is St. Jude, but I go to Maria Regina because Tony is he was involved with that church, and he started.
And that's where the car
is. That's where. Can I tell you something? That's where at the end of his journey he dropped off St. Padre Pio. It's the truth. And then so that's why I go there because Tony started a prayer group. That's where he dropped him off after he picked him up. And
I see.
So the story is true. You have to read about that and just pay. So anyway,
what do you mean dropped him off?
He literally picked in this story, St. Padre Pio. Tony was driving. Something made him pull over, and he pulled over. And he says he never pulls over for anybody. And that's when this gentleman says, he goes, I need a ride. Can you give me a ride? So the story is St. Padre Pio asked him that. And then Tony says, yeah. So
the guy that he gave a ride to...
He gave him a ride up to Maria Regina, right in front of the church, right at Maria Regina in Seaford, New York.
That was actually an embodiment of Padre Pio.
Yeah, that's where Tony dropped him off. He goes, can you let me out here? The road is called Jerusalem Avenue. It's Maria Regina Church in Seaford, Long Island, New York. That's where St. Padre Pio was in the car. And he asked Tony, can you drop me off? But before that, things happened between him and Tony that, transpired to be very good for Tony because his cancer disappeared, from what I understand. And then that's where the prayer group started.
So Tony picked up a hitchhiker, and it turned out to be Padre Pio.
Yes, correct.
Is that what the story is?
Yes, it was. Yep.
And did he know at the time?
No, he didn't know. He didn't know. I heard this, from what I understand, when you read the story, it was like 3 days later, his daughter went to go pray. She had a card or something. He's like, that's the guy he picked up. And she goes, what? She goes, how could that be? He's dead.
So it looked like Padre Pio.
Oh, well, the picture was Padre Pio. Padre Pio appeared.
The person that he picked up looked like Padre Pio. Like he recognized him.
The person he picked up was Padre Pio. It's a true story. They wrote when you read
that's
this,
amazing.
You have to read the article. He picked him up. St. Padre Pio passed away in 1968. If you
could, can you send me that article so I can or a link to it or something?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could send you. Yeah, I have no problem. I could send you that. But what the thing is now is, so that's what it all tied in. But now what happens is Maureen spoke to me, and so I'm like, okay. So she turns around, and so I accepted it, what I have. I know it's a connection. And so what happened was my mother was in an adult home called Affinity in Oakdale, because my mother, we had to put my mom into a nursing home. She's 80 years old.
Yeah.
She was in bad shape. And then I took the waters that Barbara used to tell me to get from, there was water that was coming in the water pots. They had a statue of St. Padre Pio that they donated on the church grounds at Maria Regina. So what I did was I used to go get the waters and fill them up. And then she goes, Lou, do it. So I did it. So I took that water and I used to give it to other people, and things happened. And I walked in with my mom. My mom was in the nursing home. I walked in with the water because I wanted my mother to get better. She was in bad shape. So she couldn't walk. So I walked in there. I said, Mom, they say I have a connection to St. Padre Pio. I says, I want to bless you. Let's see what happens. So we said a prayer. My mother blessed herself with the water. There was a woman in that same room that had a trach going down her throat connected to all machinery. And I told her, bless yourself with this. We'll say a prayer to St. Padre Pio. 2 weeks later, I walk in there. My mother's not in the bedroom. And I go, where's my mother? I thought my mother that something happened to her. So they go, we know your mother moved up to the 3rd floor. She's better. I go, what? And I says,
wow.
Now I turn to the left. The woman that had the trachs going down her throat, she's sitting there with machinery all disconnected and no trach no trachea going down her throat.
Wow.
And I said,
That's amazing.
I says, whoa, what's going on here? I says, what's going on? They looked at me. I says, but you were just hooked up to all these machineries. There was a pulmonologist doctor there, and she says, well, she don't need no more. I said, do you consider this to be really fast? She goes, without a doubt. I go, without a doubt.
Wow.
So she goes, yeah. So I go, but I told her about St. Padre Pio with the water and all this, and she turned around and says, I do believe in St. Padre Pio. She goes, by the way, me and my mother, I think she said they prayed to St. Teresa or St. Anne, one of those two, and she took the thing out. And I go, what the heck is going on here? So then, listen to this one. The guy across their room was going home. I blessed him too with the water and everything. And I go, where's that guy? I go, oh, he's going home.
Wow.
I go, come on. So now I asked all the nurses in there. They said to me, they said it's like a miracle. I know what I saw, what I did. And so that's what happened. And I'm like, what the heck? So now, and then listen to this. Now, that's one thing, right?
So there's a statue of Padre Pio. Where is that water coming from? Is it a spring?
The
or
water.
is it like
what happened is
a tap that's hooked up, or
they
what's
don't.
going on?
Barbara told me the water was coming from underground, and she said to me they don't know where it's coming from, but it was like a spring of water. But for some reason, she says something about water pots. I couldn't understand it, but I used to take it from the water pots with the dirt, and I said, yeah. So they said it came from underground, but she said, Tony,
so it's
before,
like an underground spring.
From underground, they don't know where it's coming from. And then Tony told me, because I spoke to him on the phone, he goes, Lou, they're turning people away. He goes, because the church, they didn't like a lot of people coming there. And he says, and Tony said, he goes, not for nothing, Lou, that they're wrong. They should not do that. He said, that's wrong because they had pictures all over the saint of all miracles. And he goes, he says, you see the, yes. And he said, you see the pictures, right? I said, yeah. So Barbara, they donated it somehow, this beautiful statue, but the water came underground. So, and the same water that I got, I gave it to my wife's uncle. He lives in Texas. He used to work for IBM. He had cancer. I got a phone call about a couple of years ago. She says, thank you, Lou. I go, thank you for what? She says, my husband's cancer's getting better. I go, whoa. I says, she goes, Lou, I'm telling you. I says, I told you, got to thank, like Barbara says, you have to thank God. And but
so where is this where is this church?
It's
where's this church with the water?
Seaford, Long Island, New York.
And what's the name of the church?
It's called Maria Regina on Jerusalem Avenue.
And this is the same church with the car in the Padre Pio.
No. The car.
This is a different place.
That car was donated to Rosa Mystica upstate.
Oh, okay. So it's two different places.
Yes, and
now, so at this point, no one can go get this water. It's closed off to.
Can
the
I
public
tell you something? I don't know what they did.
It was getting mobbed.
No, you know what? I don't know what because it's so many years ago. So I guess the people stopped going. I don't know. But what I do now myself is, you're gonna laugh. I've been always giving the water out to people. I'm gonna tell you straight out. I gave that water to somebody I know that at where I used to work to somebody. His sister had cancer. She sent me a letter that the cancer went into remission. She sent me she sent me a package, and she sent me all this stuff from. There's another place in Pennsylvania. I heard that there's the place about St. Padre Pio. They donated it. It's another story. But she went there. She sent me stuff, and I go, "What is this?" She goes, "The water you gave me from Maria Regina." She said it's in my. She said it's Louis. I'm better now. She was getting chemo, but she says it healed her. So I says, okay.
So can you still get the water from Maria Regina?
What I do is, I don't know. Barbara says that you can't get it from underground. I don't know what they did. The only thing is, I take the one on a rainy day. I go into the water pots and I scoop it out. And you know what I do now? Listen, I don't care what listen. This is all about God and St. Padre Pio. I ain't worried about what anybody thinks. I go in there on a rainy day. I scoop it out. And I hold on to it, I give it to people. And the water now, this is a new thing. The water, when it rains, I wait for a rainy day. When it comes off the roof, I collect it in a like a cup. And I use that now. Well, that's new now.
I got you.
That's new. And Barbara looked at me when I did it, but I said, Barbara, listen, Sacred is sacred to me. I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
That's falling. That's
Right.
all sacred ground. And you know what? If it can go into a pot or from underground, what says it can't come off the roof and still not be used? You know, Barbara looked at me. She's like, "Well, I guess you could do." But that's another thing I'm going to start giving out when I have to.
It's not really about where the water. Well, I mean, water is water, right? And holy water is holy water.
It's all sacred. I gave this water out to people. It fell right into the dirt, right into the water pots, and I took it out of there.
So it's more about the faith that you have.
It's about St. Padre Pio, right? And I got to tell you something. You know, right? And I got to let you know this too. So I know I have a connection. There was a woman at the prayer group. I don't know if she wants her name given out, but I'll just tell you right now, all right? So what happens is she's telling me, I told her bless herself with the water. She had cancer, and she turned around and says, my kids are, I said, I heard your boys are fine, your husband passed away. She had cancer. I don't know, she went for chemo, whatever the story was. So she goes, I said, use this because she's very scared and the kids ain't talking. She goes, I said, listen, I'm going to go to St. Padre Pio. I'm going to pray for you. And I says, bless yourself with this water. It came from right outside near the statue. And I'm going to pray for you because she was going for another test to see if she had cancer. You ready for this?
Yeah.
The director calls me up, Maureen from Maria Regina, and she says, O'Hara. She goes, oh, Lou. She goes, we're talking about because it was a snowstorm. I said, I prayed for, the woman that was there. And I said, because of her son, she wanted them to get together. Ever since we checked up for a pap smear for cancer, she's very nervous. I prayed for her for this and that. I said, I went to the thing that said a prayer, and I said I went a lot of times. And she goes,
Yeah.
I says, well, I knew about her son's not getting along, and she had the cancer. I said a lot of prayers for her. She goes, Lou, the kids are coming from Portugal. They're all getting together. And she goes, get a load of this. She goes, the cancer, it's not there. It's gone. I go, come. I said,
wow.
she was quiet in the background. Now I'm really getting scared. I'm like, please. Connection is there. Here we go again. So,
That's
but like
so
Barbara
great.
says.
So the electricity incident happened, when was that date?
That happened with me. You mean with me? That happened on March 21st of 2023, about 10 a.m.
23.
So
this has been going on for a year. Like
at St. Jude's Church.
We're coming on a year.
Yeah, it's going to be anniversary of a year. Correct. Yep.
Okay. And this whole year, you've been getting the water from. I'm sorry. Where was it again?
The water I get from is Maria Regina Church in Seaford, Long Island, New York.
And is that close to you, or how far do you have to go to get to do that?
50 minutes, about 45 to 50 minutes from me.
Okay, all right. So you've been not performing, but you've been interceding with Padre Pio and this holy water, and you've done. Like now, there's 3 people in the nursing home. There's a guy in Texas. There's this other person.
Oh, listen,
you've been
I forgot
doing
to
a
tell you
bunch of
this
healings.
Too. Yes, I got to tell you something too. My sister Rosalie has breast cancer.
Yeah.
This just happened recently. Yeah, I didn't tell you this. I'll make it real fast.
Yeah.
So she goes to Stony Brook University. She has the worst breast cancer you could have. My brother's a nurse there. I told her, don't worry. I says we're gonna pray for you to St. Padre Pio. So I got at the hospital. She's walking out. It was like the last minute because they left early. I came late actually, and so my brother says it's the worst cancer you can get. She was getting the chemo. She cut her hair off, and then she was on a 7th round of chemo. And now they said they had to go inside. There was a tumor. All right. So listen to this. So now I grab her. Because she had a coat on. She was leaving because my sister has cerebral palsy. So she had cerebral palsy. Plus she had COVID, cerebral palsy, and then she had the cancer. And she said, why me? She asked my mother. So, a couple of weeks after, I grab her as she's leaving. I literally grabbed her because she had a coat on. They were leaving the hospital because she lives in it like an adult home. So I grabbed her and I says, you're going to be fine. Or I said a prayer. I grabbed her and I said a prayer. And I said, St. Padre Pio, please help my sister. I says, and my mother just found out about 2 weeks ago that my brother called up and they went to go operate to remove the tumor. It was gone. Yeah. It was gone.
It was already gone.
It was there. but it was gone when they went in. But
Wow.
so it was gone. But now she has to go for the radiation because they got to follow up on it because so that's what they
Yeah.
did. And then just to let you know, Saint Padre Pio used to also battle the devil, which I read in the book a lot. Okay, I was home.
Yeah.
I was home. I would say about this was about a couple of weeks ago, and what happened was I I fell asleep and screamed in my ear, and I caught it, it disappeared, and then so what happened was the following.
I'm sorry. You broke up there for a You broke up there for a
Okay.
second. What happened to your ear?
What happened to me? Ever since I've been dealing with Saint Padre Pio. Saint Padre Pio used to battle the devil a lot that I read about. So now.
Okay.
What happened with me was I've been having certain things happen to me. One thing was I fell asleep on my couch and something screamed in my ear. I woke up. There was no one there. My ear still hurts to this day. Honestly, it still hurts. And it was gone. And then the next morning, my wife went to go to work. I was sitting with a cup of coffee watching the news, and something black appeared in my hallway. And I go, now I thought it was like the Grim Reaper. It wasn't. I looked, it was short, and I saw like the ruffles around. It was the Virgin Mary in black.
Ooh.
So now I'm like, what the heck is that? So now what happened was I stood my ground because I know that God watches over me. So I know that because I learned that throughout the year from. So what happened is after that morning, after it disappeared, I was really scared.
Yeah.
That morning, I moved my shoe. A black widow spider came out of my shoe.
Oh my gosh.
So
the
thing ran away. I beat the hell out of it. I felt bad. And the thing curled. I'm like, what? Why is this? What's going on? So I would say that night I fell asleep again. There was a small woman, like slender, sitting on her hind legs. She jumped at me when I woke up, I saw it, and then she disappeared in thin air.
Wow.
So what I did was I told the priest. He didn't know what to say. So there's a place called the Advent Store in Massapequa.
Yeah.
There's this woman selling it's a religious store, Catholic store. So she told me, take this salt. The salt is called it's like blessed like what do they call it when it's exorcism blessed salt.
Oh.
And she said I put it all the way around my property.
Yeah.
He said, because the priest, they bless that.
I see.
So I put it all the way around the property, knock on wood. This is all new to me, but what happens is things are changing, and so, that's what's been going on. And I'm going to tell you something, too. Now, I'm outside. This may sound crazy to you, I'm going to tell you. So now I'm outside with my dog, and I'm seeing birds flying around me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the heck is going on? I was outside my backyard, and I remember I was on the phone, and I got this hawk or this crow flying over my head, like screaming. My friend goes, it sounds like somebody's trying to get your attention. I'll never forget that.
Yeah. And
that happened during the year. All these different things have been happening, and I'm going to tell you right now. I remember before all this happened, there was a lightning outside. It was outside, out near my pool, and I wasn't going to church, and I says, I'm not scared of nothing. So I go outside. I says, and I'm thinking about God for some reason, So I go outside to the pool, and all of a sudden, I hear the lightning was so loud. I hear ba ba boom. It was so loud. I got scared, and I says, I'm gonna stay down here. I don't care who says. I don't care what anybody thinks, And I'm thinking about God. I'm like, oh, so I go because I'm outside, like trying to do something on my pool to cover it.
Yeah.
Because the thunder and rain. All of a sudden, I heard the most strongest crackle in my life, and would you believe? I got down on my knee and I said to God, I go, whoa! No, that's how it scared me. I got on my knee. I got on one of my knees.
What kind of crackle? Like electrical crackle?
It was like like when it's going to rain.
Yeah.
It was a thunderstorm outside. Okay. And I wanted to go do my pool, and I says, because I'm like, I'll be fine. I hope I don't get electrocuted. It was an electrical storm.
Right.
And then I says to myself, and I'm, maybe, I was like, someone would tell me don't, because, like, don't go out there, don't be stupid. But I didn't listen to myself. I went out there anyway.
Yeah.
And I says, I'm not scared of nobody or nothing. And then all of a sudden, I started thinking about God. No, yeah. And then all of a sudden, I heard, ba, 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 boom. And I go, whoa. Now, I got down on my knee.
This
and
is
I
the
said,
second thunder crack.
No. And I says, God, I'm sorry. Oh, no.
Oh, that's the first
I thought
one.
I was going to be struck. And let me tell you something. After that day, before this other things happened, let me tell you something. You got to respect him. And so I got down on my knee and I says, you know what, Lord, I respect you. I'm sorry I said what I thought I knew by going out. And then right after that, everything got calm.
Yeah.
I went, whoa. Let me tell you something. When he tells you, you got to respect him in so many ways.
So God told
to.
you don't go to the, you thought you got the message, don't go
no,
out.
No, because I was being strong-headed, like a guy,
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not scared enough.
Yeah.
If
Right.
You could, I'm going to go. In other words, he knew what I felt when I went outside. I shouldn't have done
your
that.
pride or your whatever.
Oh yeah.
That-
I'm telling you, telling you from the heart as a man.
I see.
Yeah, no. You don't. Oh, you don't think that you have to. In other words, he's saying, don't take advantage of me.
Right.
And
right.
he's right though. He's right. I agree with him.
So you're able to.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I learned my lesson on that day.
So since March 21st of 23, you've been able to with the water and the prayers to Padre Pio, you've performed healings, and also you're getting attacked by the devil
I have
in different ways.
Right.
So how many healings?
Well, yes,
how many healings do you think you've done through the intercession?
You want me to tell you the truth?
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't like admitting it, but you know what it is? I never went to. I used to be altar boy,
Yeah.
but I haven't gone to church in years. But now, I'm going back more than I did, and I love God and I expect it. People look at me. They don't like Barbara says, Bluey. People don't understand. You can't get annoyed at that, and I was getting annoyed, but I stepped back, and she's right. So people, in other words, if nothing ever happened like them, they don't understand. Even in my own family, they don't. I talk about it. They don't look at me. They don't look like I'm nuts.
Like you're crazy.
But the
right.
thing is, they don't look like I'm crazy. But the thing is, you're gonna understand something. My mother, all right, I'm gonna tell you something. I was raised in a foster home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when my mom got sick, my dad died when I was 35. I felt like sometimes I get depressed thinking about, certain stuff because I was raised in a foster home.
Yeah.
But you know what came to me right in my face, what scares me? I was reading something and Jesus had a foster father.
Right.
And
right.
You didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
And so it was like God was going back to me saying, Lou, listen, my son had a foster father. So Lou, and I got like really scared when I go, what the heck? And it's true though.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of.
So you've reunited with your biological mother. I mean, you said you had a healing with your mom.
I always had my mom when I was younger. Just my mother she was a sick woman. She had mental illness, disabilities,
mm-hmm.
and my father died when he was 35. She was 29. She raised 2 kids on her own.
So you knew
she got sick, and when
you always knew your biological mother. She didn't raise you.
She raised us to about 8 years old, and then we were put in the system.
Yeah.
Because she got mentally disabilities. She couldn't do it no more. And my dad, I don't remember as much. A little bit. I was like I passed away when he was like 8. When I was 8 or 9. My dad, he hemorrhaged to death. He had bleeding ulcers. My dad.
So the woman you saw, the woman that you were talking about in the nursing home, and your first story, that's your biological mother.
That's my real mom.
Okay.
That's my real.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my biological.
So you still have a relationship with her over the years. You still are close.
Yeah.
With her.
Oh yeah. I love my mom. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a relationship with my foster mom very closely. And my real mom too. Yeah, I talked to both of them.
Okay.
They're both doing.
That's nice.
Actually, you know what? Their birthdays are one day apart. Is that crazy or what?
That's cool.
Yeah,
so,
I'm just saying. But
so you're dealing with
it's different.
So you're dealing with this gift that you have now of being able to heal.
It's a gift. Yes,
mm-hmm.
Barbara. Yes, I didn't understand this. Barbara said, "Lou, it's a gift from God." I go, "Okay," but I says, "I don't know how to use it."
Right.
I go, "Because you need a spiritual director."
Right. Because you.
And I said,
right.
Yes.
Because you don't.
this is all new to me.
You could say, "Oh, I want to win the lottery," or "I want to do, things that are not appropriate."
I don't know if it would do that.
Right. So you got to be careful.
I don't know if it would do that, but
Right. So now at this point, you said you were willing to give out your phone number, is that right? And have people
Yeah,
call
I
you
just,
with
well, I got to tell you one thing.
requests, or what
I
do you
want to
think?
tell you. I just want to let everybody know one thing. The reason I know. All right, I'm going to tell you something. I was in the church, and somebody told me. I says I don't know how to do this, and they told me ask for direction to God.
Yeah.
You're supposed to. So I'm saying to myself, okay, so I'm in the church, St. Jude. All this happened. I was in the church, and so I said to myself, I'm like talking to God. I said, if you send someone to me and show me direction where I can get help, I'll do your work.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, as I'm after Mass, I'm facing the statue of St. Padre Pio because I sit next to it because everybody goes, why do you sit over there? They go, you look lonely. No, I feel a closeness to the statue.
Yeah.
That's why I sit there. So I turn my head and go, God, if you send someone to me, I'm facing the statue, and I tell you this is what happened. This is true. All of a sudden, 2 minutes later, a guy approaches me from behind. And I go, his name is, I think, Walter. He does a sermon in the beginning of the church.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, Lou, we want you to join our prayer group, he says, would you don't mind, you got to tell us what happened to you. You don't mind, do you? And he's sitting there with his wife. She has a veil over her head. And I'm like, I got scared. I go, whoa. So now
that was like immediately after you said that prayer, like
right after, yes,
boom,
right
boom,
after,
you got the answer within a second.
Right. He answered me in a second. So just to let you know, I go to the prayer group and I meet them and stuff. So long story short was, I'm not going to lie to you. Listen, I tell it the way it is. I just didn't feel comfortable being there. I don't know why. I just because there's some guy that lives on my block who I knew since I was a kid. He doesn't know me. I don't feel comfortable. So I said to God, don't get mad, but I go to the other prayer group that Tony started. I feel comfortable with them.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that happened. And then, so that's what happened. And I was just shocked that even, and also on a Saturday night, I'm watching TV, right? And all of a sudden, something pushed me to this channel. It's called The True Life of God.
Yeah.
Her name is Vasula Ryden. I read up on her, and she gets readings from God. Would you believe something pushed me to her?
Yeah.
And I read some of her stuff. Yeah. So when I'm asking for direction, I was pushed towards the True Life of God. Vasula Ryden. She's been around for 30 years, and the reason she's very well known. She's from Greece, but she's she has a lot. She's like Tony and Barbara. She if you got to read up on her. But and you know what? Electricity hitting her. Same thing. And no one told me about her.
Yeah.
But when I asked God for direction, I got hit towards, that prayer group at St. Jude's at Massac Beach, New York, and then Vasula Ryan, True Life of God.
Yeah.
Because I read up on her, and she's amazing. So these are the things that are happening to me now. And now, for some reason, I'm learning how to use I speak to Barbara all the time.
Yeah.
So she's always been trying to, she goes, Louis, you have a gift from God. She says, you have to believe. If you don't believe, nothing's going to happen. And she goes, Louis, it doesn't always happen.
Right.
Because you have to understand something. She said, it's called free will. I go, what are you talking about? She said, free will. Things have to happen because he just lets it happen. But if you pray, she says, it's up to God.
Right.
If he wants them to heal, it may work, it may not. She said, so everything's up to God. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And you know what Tony told me before he died? I remember I called. He was dying. I didn't know all about it, And he said, Louis, way before he passed on, he said, Louis, people need something to believe in. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing now. He said, and I thought about it. I'm like, I don't know. And then, you know what? I'm proud of what, it's something good. I don't know if I should tell people this, but I don't know. I don't know if I should tell you this. All right. I'm happy, and I told God I wouldn't say nothing, but I just wanted, I think it should be put out there because I watch a show called The Chosen. I know it's on TV. I've been learning a lot about it, and it reflects a lot of things that I've been dealing with. My friend told me about it. And I was over here at a dollar store, and I think, God, don't get mad at me, but I think it's a good thing. I see something. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm at the dollar store. This was I don't remember if It was in 2023. I don't know if
Mhm.
it was before the statue, the situation. So I walk over. There was something written. It was like there was a bunch of people sitting there, and whatever was written so perfect. When I never pulled in front, I pulled up in front of the store, and something came over me like a joy, like in my heart, like I wanted to be part of that group.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Dino, all of a sudden, I felt like a joy, and something came over me, and I want to be part of that group. And I see people flocking to this guy. And then all of a sudden, I'm leaving like the dollar store. And as I'm leaving the dollar store, I put like $20, whatever it was, in the cup, and I got my car. As I'm getting my car, this man approached me, and he said to me, he goes, "I haven't eaten in a week." He goes, "I just wanted to thank you because now I can go over here and get something to eat." And I'm like, no problem. But when I just got my car, but when I was there, it felt like a joy, like I want to be part of that group.
Yeah.
You ready for this? I come about weeks later, I go to a doctor's office, and I come out, and I turn my head to the right side, like there's other things about me I don't talk about. I see things people don't see.
Yeah.
That's another subject for another day. But the thing was, as I turned my head to the right, I was leaving the doctor's office. It was it's like in a parking lot, with other stores. So as I turned my head to the right, this was another dollar store. I see a guy sitting down, and like there was a woolen hat over his head. He's moving his hands back and forth, and as I turn my head, like he was trying to communicate to me.
Yeah.
And I just says, that's nothing. I get in the car and I leave. Can I tell you something? I'm not going to say who it was, and I'm not going to say it. But can I tell you something? I know who it was, and nobody don't have to believe me. But I'm not going to say it. I'd rather not say it. I'd rather leave it like that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you something. I know, and this was just around the Easter time, and I'd rather not. I don't want to say it, but I know who I was. And what's scary now is I always look for that person.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. And I mean, I don't want people to get scared and not to believe what is. So it is what it is. That's how I feel in my heart.
So you saw this guy at the dollar store, and people were flocking around him. And
Yes.
He was like a beggar or something.
No. He was sitting outside the dollar store. When you pull your car up, there was a little piece of paper with something written on it, like, could you give money or something?
Right.
There was a little cup, and it was sitting there. They were sitting, like, against the wall. And I see these people, like, I guess they were homeless or whatever. They were homeless people.
Yeah.
And the homeless, they were home. Yes, they were home. And the thing was, I don't like borrowing with some of them. Listen, I have nothing against homeless people. I always give money.
Right.
But I know a lot of times in this area, they deal with drugs and stuff, and I didn't want to get, because I don't want to get involved.
Yeah.
But what was weird about it, the people, there was one guy, they were talking like, they were so positive, and they were very happy. They were sitting against the wall.
Yeah.
And I felt like a joy come over my heart, like I wanted to be part of that group.
So
and
of these homeless
they were sitting
people.
against the wall, like, yes, and the people were flocking to this guy.
And then,
and it's weird, when I left, that's when I put the money in the thing.
so you
He
did
approached me
put
before I got
20. You
my
put
car.
$20 in this guy's.
$20 in there,
Cup.
yeah. I ain't gonna lie, I think it was $20.
Yeah.
And something made me put it. He approached me. He goes, "Thank you." I go, so I looked at him. And I'm halfway in my car. I'm standing outside. He goes, "Listen, I haven't eaten in a week." He goes, now I can go over here. See, you know what?
So do you think? Are you thinking?
Something seemed right. Yeah.
You don't want to say it, but you think that might have been Padre Pio?
Now, Padre Pio. No, it wasn't.
No, who?
No. If I'd rather not say. I don't want to say it. I just rather not.
Was it
not.
Jesus?
You want me
Was
to
it
tell you?
Jesus? Yeah, I don't know. Like I can't guess. Is it?
You want me?
Yes.
I don't want to say it. Do you want me to be honest?
Yes. Who do you think it was?
All right. I think that. Listen, I don't lie, and I don't really like saying it. I'd rather not say it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you straight out, because I say it the way it is. I think it was Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And I don't care what anybody thinks.
Well, right.
You don't have to believe me,
that
because
happened.
you know what?
That happened in the Bible, like a couple times, right? That Jesus was disguised, and I forget. I should know
Yes,
this better.
okay.
But that's one of the stories.
Right. He was disguised. Can I tell you something else,
Right.
too? You know why I know it was him? And you know what? You want to laugh? I go around looking. I go in the area looking. My friend Jerry, who's that kid Thomas, and I didn't have no one to talk to. He goes, Louis, he can be disguised in
Right.
any which way, Lou. You don't know.
That's what they.
I
That's
said,
what he's.
but
Yeah.
Jerry, right. So listen, you know why I know it's him? I'm going to tell you why. Do you remember when he showed up at it was a small town, Galilee. I forget, they were fishermen.
Yeah.
With what was it? When they were fishing.
Right.
It was a small town in right, that small town, Galilee. I forgot the name of the town.
Is this after?
So can I tell you something?
Is this when he appeared to the apostles after the crucifixion? Is that what you're talking about? That story?
It was a story when he showed up and he was preaching about with Simon.
Yeah.
When they were fishing and they couldn't get no fish, he fished overnight.
Yeah.
And then he showed up there and he told them go into the water and pulled all the
Right.
fish out.
Right.
And so this is the key. I'm going to tell you the key. Shirley's a small town,
Yeah.
and he was here. I don't care. Anyway, no one don't have to believe me.
Right.
So
But you
I'm gonna
felt
tell you
that was
something, too. I'm
that
gonna
was
tell you
Jesus.
something.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that was him. And I'm going to tell you something too. Real fast. I remember I was watching The Chosen, and listen, I'm just going by what I saw, where they said one of the high priests, the lower one, says, "Who's your Where do you teach? Where are you from?" And then he turned around, and don't quote me. I don't know if I heard it right. Jesus turned around, says, "Who are you to say this, that, and that?"
Yeah.
And can I tell you something? And I don't read the Bible a lot. I just started reading. Can I tell you something? I don't care what man writes. You can write anything you want to write. Can I tell you something? God could do whatever he wants. He could show up today and tomorrow.
Right.
And if
Right.
they say, well, he's going to show up, and then they're all going to, I know they say when he comes, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Guess what? God, you know what? And God even went back to that one of those priests. I remember when they were trying to, the guy that had when he couldn't walk, and then
Yeah.
I guess he performed the miracle, right? And then Jesus, from what I saw, he turned around and say, "Who do you to say this and this?" And then the guy backed off, one of those high priests. And then so from my heart, how I feel, can I tell you something? I'll tell you right now. God he makes his own decision.
Right.
I don't care what man says.
Yeah.
You know what? God could do whatever he wants at any time.
Right.
So I'm just maybe I'm wrong,
No,
but
you're
that's
right.
how
And that's
I'm interpreting it.
That's the point of this podcast, is because my theory is, or my belief is, that you read the Bible, that happened 2,000 years ago.
I mean,
and
I read it once in a while. I'm not like real.
But people think, oh, the miracles happened in the Bible and they don't happen anymore. It's that was back then, and we have to hope for when Jesus comes again, and then it's all going to be different. But I think miracles are happening every day, all the time, to everyone. You just have to keep your eyes open and believe, and you'll see the miracles in your own life. I've seen them in my own life. There's a lot of weird things happening, and I'm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you did see them?
Yeah,
You do. You
right,
did see it.
right. I see them. I see them too, and I think everyone has them. If you believe and you say, oh, well, that was weird. Oh, that was weird. Oh, that was weird. Oh, you know what? That's God.
Yeah,
That's God. You know that story about there's a guy on a roof, and there's a flood, and a guy comes by in a rowboat, and the guy says, oh, I don't need your help. God's going to save me. And then a guy comes in a whatever. A bunch of people come, and they come in a helicopter, and he's like, no, God's going to save me. And then at the end, the guy drowns, and God says, you know what? I sent you a rowboat. I sent you a helicopter. I sent you all this stuff, and you died because you thought there was going to be something awesome that was going to happen. Like, I'm going to come out of the sky with a giant hand and pick you up. No. I mean, we're all performing miracles for each other, and God's doing works, all the time that are very unusual. And you've seen
without
them.
a doubt.
I've seen them. I mean,
I used to. Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm saying. But I want to let you know something, because I was, I asked the church, at my church, I told them what happened. So the woman's like, well, you can keep it to yourself, or you can let them know. But because Tony said people need something to believe in,
right.
Should. When I went to the Advent store, her name is Sarah, she turned around and says, you you need to share your story.
Yeah.
I go, but I don't know. She says you need to share it. So that's what
Right.
that's what I'm trying to do.
Well,
share.
I appreciate it.
And I'm going to tell you something too. I'm going to give my phone number to whoever wants to call.
So you want people to
willing,
call
if that's okay
with prayer?
That's up to you.
Yeah, no. If that's what if that's what you want to do,
I'll give my
give out your number, and then
because what they could do is
people can call you, and if you think it's something you can do, you can say a prayer for them.
Yeah, well, that's certainly. If there's anything I can do for anybody, I don't mind doing it. Fine.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Yeah. Let us have your number, and
I'll give it. Yeah, I have no problem with that.
I appreciate you sharing your story.
Yeah, so I'll give it to you. All right. If anybody's interested, if I can do anything, I live in Shirley, Long Island, New York. My number is 631, area code 631-786-0903, 631-786-0903. My name's Lou. If there's anything I can do, just, don't bother. I mean, just call me. It's not a problem. It's not a bother. And whatever I can do, if I can help anybody out, that'll be great.
Oh, that's so nice. That's very generous of you, Lou. I mean, you're sharing your gift, and you want to heal people, and you want to help people.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And you know what else is true? I'll make it real fast because I don't want to hold you up. But I was also in Babylon in Long Island, and I was checking. I don't even ask me these mausoleums. I was checking one of them out because for some reason I could never afford it. But the thing was, I wanted to get one for my family, but I really can't. I really can't afford that. Well, long story short, so I'm in the section there. So can I tell you something? As I'm at the mausoleum, I'm standing there, and this guy comes up with a truck, and it was his grandparents' mausoleum. So he's looking at me. I said, well, my car's sons broke down at the train stations, and it just caught my eye. As I'm standing there, it turned to be that he knew someone that I knew, and I left some water from his sister was very sick, or someone like really sick. So I left a note for him because he didn't know who I was. Of the holy water, of the water from Maria Regina Church. His sister was really sick, so or so in his family. So as I leave, I go to the other second half of the cemetery. As I leave, I'm getting like, because I could tell certain things way before this happened. I see things that people don't see. That's another subject, like I said, for another day. So long story short, as I'm leaving the cemetery, I'm having something, but I have these souls come at me like nonstop. And I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, what the heck is this? I never went through that in my life. So they're coming at me. This was after I touched a statue. They were coming at me nonstop. So I went to
what was coming after you?
There were something in the cemetery, souls. I told them I'm feeling these entities. They're coming at me nonstop. Whenever I pass that area, she goes, Lou, those are souls trying to go to heaven.
Oh.
I go, are you serious? She goes, no. And listen to this. So the woman that told me this, which I knew about, she goes to Maria Regina. No, she goes to St. John's Church in Mauritius. She just came out with a book. I just found this out. She gets apparitions of the Virgin Mary.
Oh.
And I go, someone told me, so I met her. She gets apparitions.
And she was there at the cemetery.
She was no, I met her at the church, and I told her about my situation.
Yeah, and so she understood
about when I was at North Babylon Cemetery. Yeah. She says you need to. There's a certain prayer you have to say
to release
and
them.
I know it was Saint Gertrude. Right. So I said it, but I told her it was on the weekend. It was so massively bad. I called churches. I called an 800 number. They prayed with me over the phone, and would you believe it got better after that? But she says there's a certain prayer that you have to say. She told me.
So it's a good
prayer you have to say.
It's a good thing you're retired, right, Lou? I mean,
yeah. Well, you want to laugh? Yeah, retired now.
Because you're gonna be, you're busy. You're busy. You're busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. Oh, believe me, I'm busy.
Working for God now.
Yeah, that's how. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what it is though? It's hard because my family, my wife. I can explain. My wife don't. My boys may understand. My daughter, my wife, they don't get it yet. And my wife's aunt, because they're like, St. Padre Pio, this and that. I said, let me tell you something, because they don't understand.
Right.
So I says, it's still because they all, they mess with me. But you know what? St. Padre Pio, he's amazing.
Right.
He's amazing.
Yeah, people are gonna mock.
He's
People
amazing.
are
He
gonna
does
mock you or mock me for doing this stuff.
well.
But you know what?
They didn't say nothing bad, my friend.
No.
They don't understand. They're like, and my brother Nick goes, Lou, enough with St. Patrick's. I go, Nick. And you know what's weird about this? My brother, he came out and told me, he goes, oh, all of a sudden now, months later, he goes, they just came out with a movie with St. Patrick. Now he was saying good things about him. He goes, no, because my brother, because you know what it is? They don't understand, and you become happy because someday I never experienced that happen when I touch a statue.
Right.
Listen, this is so true because there's a woman, she told me her daughter was very sick. She was at the church in a chapel because I told her what happened to me. She told me a story, and she said a woman, she's crying in the chapel at some church, because this was years ago. She got to be in the late 70s, early 80s. She's a deacon or something at St. Jude's in, Long Island, New York. So she goes, I was crying about my daughter. She was really sick. A woman in white appeared to her, and she goes, the woman said, say this prayer. So she turns around, the woman's gone. Yeah. I go, come on. She goes, Lou, I tell you it's true. And she says, guess what? She goes, I said, how's your daughter? Because my daughter's better. She goes, understand something. She says the woman was going, and there was no one in that chapel.
Yeah.
And she says, Louis, I never told anyone this story. She goes, you're the first person I ever told. She says, because you told me what happened to you. And I run into it. You ready for this? She goes, she was having like arthritis in her leg. I told her to touch a statue. She says, I just want to let you know something. She ran into me at the church. So she goes, I touch a statue. She goes, would you believe my leg's better now?
Yeah.
I go, come on. She goes, Lou, I'm telling you, it's true.
Yeah.
So,
no, that's exactly,
things that happen.
No, I appreciate you sharing your story. And this is why I'm doing this, is because we have to report these things when they happen, because years pass and you think, oh, well, that happened, but it was years ago, and maybe it was just a coincidence or something. But,
no, it's true.
Right,
all these,
right.
Yes, I'm telling you.
So we got to report
and
it.
You know what someone told?
So that we keep believing.
And I don't know what.
Yeah, there's so many miracles. Right.
Right. I mean, there are miracles. Don't get me wrong. The only thing I know is, I won't tell you what happened. They had one of the relics of the bone of St. Jude's over here. It's St. Jude's, and I went to it, and it was one of the apostles of Christ. It was St. Jude, and I went to it, but it was unbelievable. Just the experience of doing that.
Yeah.
But like it is, people don't believe.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad to hear your story. It is a really cool story, and it's amazing. And I'm sure you're going to keep doing more work and doing more miracles.
No, I am. Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. Yes. I have to because you know what it is. Listen. I'm going to be honest to everybody. I'm going to tell you straight out, because I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let this go, and who cares? But can I tell you something? You know what I said to God? This may sound stupid in a way, but I'm not. I don't know. Because I was telling people about this, and this one woman that runs the cleaner store, she kind of changed my attitude about something. She goes, "What are you scared about?" She says, "You're blessed."
Yeah.
I says, "Yeah, but it's scary." And she goes, "So." I said, she told me something about Virgin Mary where she told God, do whatever you want with me, right? And can I tell you something? And I always said with Tony and them, I always wanted to do stuff with them and help. But what I said was, this is how this all, besides I said I didn't believe in God, that was something else, but now he knows I believe in him. But I always wanted to help Tony and Barbara if they needed help. But I think they said they were fine. They said they didn't need any help. Maybe I'm wrong to that effect. So what happened was, I said to myself, I go, you know what? God picks certain people, and they're special for certain things. So I said to myself, I'm not going to bother them. I says I can accept that, but I used to do the holy water, and that would I keep it in my garage in a bottle.
Yeah.
But I says I always wanted to help them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden that happened to me.
Right.
With the statue, and then after the statue, after that woman said that to me. That told me about Virgin Mary, which she said, and I read up on it, and I said to God, I go, you know what? Mold me. This is true. after that happened, I said, mold me into what you ever want me to do for you.
Yeah.
I'll do it. And but I remember it was something that was said in the Bible about that. And Mary said that. So I says, if she could do it, I says, I could do it. So I said that. And I remember there was one night I felt like something was happening. This was way before, this was after the statue. Like things were starting to happen. For instance, I had a channel in my car. I lost this religious channel I saw. I woke up the next morning. The radio went on with the religious channel. And I go,
Yeah.
what the heck? I was on my way to church.
Yeah.
And I go, so something transpired, something happened.
Yeah.
When I said that, and I felt it. And I'll tell you what, I learned one thing. Someone said it was called the Holy Spirit, because you know what it is? I learned two things. You cannot use religion against people,
Right.
because you think this is, because when you think you have, like, I could do anything now.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No. Because you know what happens? He takes that away from you.
Yeah.
Because I remember I did something. One thing, I was arguing with somebody, and I felt like someone said it's the Holy Spirit. Well, that's what happened to you. And I remember I took it to the max. I was having a disagreement with my wife. It was so bad. No, the thing was trying to stop me from fighting.
Yeah.
And guess what? It had enough, and it was gone.
Yeah.
So you cannot misuse the Holy
Right.
Spirit, because if you do, guess what? Until you straighten yourself out, you're not going to, nothing good's going to,
Yeah.
the Spirit ain't going to come back into you again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just telling you, this is
Yeah.
what's been going on. But
That's so cool.
I
So-
feel I know I have it, but I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's amazing.
you
And thank you for sharing your story. And you are blessed, and you are blessing other people. And it's amazing. You're healing, and you're close to God now, and it's awesome. So what I'd like to do is check back with you like in a year or so, and I'm sure you're gonna have more things to report. So. Keep in touch, and I'm gonna put this podcast out with you, and let's see what happens. God's gonna do amazing things as He always does. So I'm excited.
Yeah, somebody said that to me. Yeah, someone turned around, and this gentleman at the prayer group, the head of a prayer group, St. Jude, goes, "Lou, he's got big plans for you," and I'm getting scared. Like, okay, I think I get it, but it's good though. It's a good thing.
Wow, what an amazing story. Thank you for joining us on the Miracle Hotline podcast. If you have experienced a miracle or an extraordinary stroke of luck, don't hesitate to share your story by calling or texting us a voice memo at 412-446-0330 or visiting miraclehotline.com. Your message could be featured in an upcoming episode, or you may even have the opportunity to be interviewed. Sharing these miraculous stories is vital, as they remind us of the presence of God or a higher power in our lives. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to ensure you never miss an inspiring tale. Additionally, if you'd like to contribute to sponsor the show or advertise with us, please reach out. The Miracle Hotline podcast is made possible by the generous support of sponsors like Imagine Audio and Media, your one-stop destination for all audio and video production, voiceover, and media transfer needs. Thank you for considering supporting our podcast.